Hi, this is Ken Adams, and welcome to this edition of City Beat. And this week I'm joined by Brian Hines from Salem Can Do Better. You're the spokesperson.
Spokesperson, not spokesman, spokesperson. That's
yes.
right.
And maybe you could explain what Salem can do better.
Well, Salem can do better on a lot of things. So I came up with a name for the website because there would be so much use for it in the future. But the first use for it was to say back in last fall that Salem can do better than the $82 million police facility bond measure. And so we opposed that, and it failed. And we wanted very much to support a second try bond measure, but unfortunately that hasn't come to be, so we're opposing the second try, $62 million or $61.8 million bond measure. Reluctantly, did our best to come to an agreement with the city, but it didn't happen. So once again, we're on the no side of a police facility bond, which is unfortunate because it would have been good in these days of kind of troubled, as I like to say, Trumpian times, if people politically can come together at the local level. But we did our best, and that didn't occur. And we can talk about what our differences are with the city
Well, I think that would be a good place to start. Because you were I think most people recognize the fact that a new police facility needs to be built. The one that is currently in use is too small and is in the basement of a building that's not earthquake safe.
Right.
So that's not the discussion, really. That's not what the sticking point is. You're not.
Well, not among the vast majority, 95, 99% of people that I come in contact with. Some people just don't like to spend government money on anything.
Well, that's true.
So but all the people that are informed and they're involved in the issue, you're absolutely right. Everybody agrees there's a need for a police facility. So what the city did after the first try measure passed, it was way too expensive, way too large, 148,000 square feet, $82 million. So they reduced the size to 115,000 square feet and $62 million. So those are good things. However, the cost per square foot remained pretty much exactly the same, very high, the most expensive police facility ever built in Oregon to my knowledge, for certainly the most expensive one built in recent years. And for me, the most important thing was that just lots of people, and I know this, even though Mayor Bennett disagrees with me about this, voted no because they didn't like the idea that City Hall and the library were going to be left unprotected in the big one earthquake collapse. And that's the reason for moving the police out of City Hall, because it's going to collapse when the big one earthquake hits. But they're going to move new city employees into the same space. So we argued that why not do everything, at least seismically retrofit the library, which is an easier building to retrofit than City Hall, and approach in May the citizens with a bond measure, a public safety bond measure that does two things: builds a reasonably priced police facility and seismically retrofits the library and makes some other renovations to it. And that, in fact, was what most people asked the city council to do, at least that I heard. Even the group that John Hawkins, who is now chairing the Yes campaign, came to the city council and said, we've reached agreement on this. We think this is something everybody can get behind, 115,000 square foot police facility and seismically retrofit the library. But then things fell apart, as happens in politics and City Hall goings on, and they ended up with only a police facility. So that's the main reason I personally am opposing it, because I just don't like the idea of saving the lives of police and not saving the lives of other people who use the library and also City Hall.
The library
even though I must say they did put the library, or promised to put a library bond on the November ballot. But there were comments I heard at city council meetings that we can always change our mind, which they can. And there were also comments that along the lines of, this was bothersome. Well, it's just only going to be for $15 million, and there's going to be a big schools bond, could be $100 million, $150 million, maybe more on the November ballot. It could look cheap in comparison to the schools bond. So, the idea of pitting children that could be crushed to death at the library versus children that could be overcrowded or crushed to death in school buildings just doesn't appeal to me. They should have put it on the May ballot, where the city and all of the citizens could have come together around the issue of protecting the library, building a new police facility that's also earthquake safe. But in their wisdom or lack of wisdom, the city council decided to do otherwise.
Well, they seem to be of the opinion that you can only have one thing on the ballot, as if people can't count and add up, because they know that the library and City Hall, once the police leave, are still going to need to be retrofitted. And some other work is also going to be needed as well. And so they're going to be asking for that money for the library in November and City Hall in like a 3 to 5 year period.
Right.
So we know those things are coming down. And you know, for some of us who kind of pay attention, we know it's coming. So why not have it all in the same bond measure?
Yeah, plug. If you go to salemcandobetter.com, you will find that I put together a video because I sat through the work sessions and the city council meetings dealing with this issue, and I put together a short video of clips of, again, John Hawkins, who favored the police, who's leading the police facility yes campaign, other people, Suzanne Kaltwasser, Salem Community Vision, me, several citizens, all saying, let's do both of these things. You know, we can do both. Like the city often has streets and bridges bonds. There's streets that cars go on the road, and then there's bridges, things that go over a river, two different things. People can understand these both have to do with transportation. I think people can understand that protecting people at the library and making the police department more efficient and also protecting the lives of the people there go together under the rubric of public safety. And in fact, until about 2015, this was the plan of the city of Salem. Under Mayor Pearson and Chief Jerry Moore, they were going around trying to push a 75,000 square foot police facility plan just north of City Hall by Mirror Pond. And then they were going to also seismically retrofit City Hall at the same time. And that was the plan. And there's plenty of slides from the consultants that were telling the city council that if we build a new police facility, City Hall is still dangerous. It's still going to collapse in an earthquake, and so we've saved the lives of the police department staff, but we've left endangered the lives of the people that will both be moving into the space the police department vacated and all the people that are still working there, plus the visitors. Anybody that goes and sits at a city council meeting is kind of suspended up in air, and if you, as I like to tell them, if you feel the earth shaking, you know, say your prayers or say your best wishes, because you're about to collapse. And that's not good.
And it's concrete.
It's concrete, and
yeah.
it's you know, kind of suspended on pillars. And so the idea was that they were going to build new city council chambers and do all kinds of other things. So similarly, you know, I have shown, on an addition to our Salem Can Do Better website, made a whole new page today showing this was easy to do. I told them and others at city council meetings, you just reduce the price of the excess cost of the police facility, say $9 million, you can afford the seismic part of the library improvements. For $15 million, they can have a new roof, they can be earthquake safe. And what is $15 million? $15 million turns out to be exactly the amount of money you'd save if you built the police facility for the same price per square foot as Beaverton has recently approved their police facility. Our police facility is 26% more per square foot, leaving aside the land costs, than Beaverton. 26% of the cost of our police facility minus the land acquisition is $15 million. So we could have both if they had a cost-effective, reasonably priced police facility. For just $700,000 more, you could have library, seismic retrofitting, a new roof, and a new police facility. And that could be what comes to be if this second police facility bond is rejected again by voters.